I'm back. So I may have missed 2 days, but like I was busy. And well, it sucks because today's art, I have like nothing to talk about it. It's like anatomy. I'm walking on my squeaky floor. I hope they didn't pick up. Whatever. It's just anatomy, really. And no, I didn't use a reference, so it's more of just like, hey, could I do the anatomy from my memory? Which is a lot of my stuff. But we don't talk about that. I tried to make it a little more interesting by adding like floating eyes as if it was the head, and then I thought, what if I just made it like the whole background? Getting a little crazy with it. So that's what I ended up doing. Was it a mistake how I did it? Probably, maybe, just a smidge. But also, the pose is just standing there. He's just standing there menacingly. So there's not much to that either. So it really is just a, hey, could I do anatomy from my own brain? Minus head. No head. It has been removed and replaced with eye. And eye, and eye, and eye. And more eye. I mean, I guess I could talk about the art that I didn't do a voiceover of, because that stuff like actually had some more thought process going into it. But I'm not sure if anyone like, wants to check back on them while I'm talking about over this one. And it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I can do what I want. It's my video. No one can stop me. No one. So 2 days ago with the do we have a deal? I had like no time, so I speedran that one. That's why it had 3 colors. Yep, that's the lore behind that one. I also thought that doing a more foreshortened pose would be more interesting, since I can't really think of a time that I've really done one that foreshortened. So that's why I did that. And then yesterday's, being gothic, that one I just did to do cloth and a dress reference drawing, since I very rarely do clothing. At least very rarely do clothing to a detailed degree other than like a shirt, basic t-shirt. So doing something more complicated like a dress, I thought I should probably do that. Anyway, back to this one. It's just anatomy. It's how I typically do it. Maybe a little less extreme for certain things, and less weird scarring or skin stretching than I might typically do on some random creature. And I'm rendering it the way I normally do, where I do like an outline, but not like line art outline, just like a dark outline of the colors I'm gonna use. So like what color I want for the shadow, I do the outline of that. I put in my base color, fill it all in, and then I do highlights and shadow and mixing it all together on one layer, because you don't need 5 million layers, especially when it's just kind of one color with a couple shading differences. I mean, you can do like 1 million layers, but like you don't have to. But I'm also not like making the rules of how art works or how you do your art. You do it how you want. If you want 500 layers for one arm, go ahead. If you want 1 layer for an entire piece, go ahead. And if you want no layers, well, I don't know how you're gonna do that, but like you can try. I think that'd be neat if you could do it with no layers. I really don't know how you do it though. It'd be impressive, that's for sure. Yep, I really should have planned something to talk about, because I'm really just rambling. I got nothing. I'm just doing what I normally do. At the highlights where I think the highlights are going to be, shadows where I think the shadows are going to be, it's all stuff that you kind of have to learn with like tips and tricks that you build up over time. Like a lot of this anatomy stuff I did not learn all at once. I learned it all at different parts. Like proportions, I'd say that that was like something that you should start with, just because like if you can get proportions right, as soon as you start adding the other puzzle pieces, they'll start slotting in, and you won't be like, proportions are pretty obvious when they're like egregiously wrong, just because like, our human pattern minds go, ooh, that pattern's wrong, when it's completely insane. And even when it's a little off, you're still like, I don't know. So getting proportions is, I'd say, pretty important. And then you can also use that to figure out, like, how do I make this shift? Like, what do I change about this to make it weirder or more normal, depending on what you're going for. So, like, sometimes I'll have stretched out forearms or upper arms, just because I'm doing creatures all the time. I also like really broad shoulders. I don't know why, I just like them. Like, even in this one, look at that huge, massive chonkin shoulder. Thing's huge. But I think it like gives a good frame, good silhouette. And some other stuff I learned at separate points is like all the stuff around the collarbone, the clavicle, how the neck connects to the body. That's all stuff I learned at different times, slowly over the course of 1,623 days. And like really slowly at the beginning, like it was probably over a year before I started like actually even doing proportions right. So you know, oops, probably should have used reference back then. Womp womp. Whatever, it's in the past. And now I'm on to doing the eyeballs, which I didn't want to do like actual eyeballs. I want to do like a representation of an eyeball, which is, you know, why they're not very detailed. And I did the stupid decision of being like, oh, I'm going to make it so all the pupils are looking in different areas. So I'll just draw them in later, because that was my thought when I was going to do only like a couple eyeballs. And then I did however many this is. So, oops. That's on me. That's my bad. I pay for it in about half a second here when I start going. I have to like add pupils now. Shucks. But I do it because without doing it, it would look wrong. It'd just be like a normal pattern, and you couldn't even tell that they were supposed to be eyeballs. I mean, even now you might be just like, funny wallpaper. Which is like fair, understandable. Honestly, thinking about it now, I should have had all the pupils facing the body. I wish I did that now that I'm thinking about it, because that would have given a much better feeling of paranoia than just eyeballs in general. Feeling of being watched. But hey, you live and you learn. Maybe next time when I draw something being watched by hundreds of eyeballs, I'll actually remember to make the eyeballs actually watch it this time. There, I was trying stuff out with just adding black to the background. Felt it was didn't look good, so I just went with the red. Was it represent? I don't know. I just wanted the eyeballs to be more of the head area rather than the everywhere area. So I needed to put something else there. I could have left it white, especially because the eyeballs were fading into it, but I'll do what I want. And now that there's so much red in the background, I decided to add like a little red highlights around the body, as if the light was actually behind him and bleeding onto his body. That's also why I do like that little red at the bottom that fades in, as if it was like a red fog. I like fog, okay? Now I'm adding those red strips of watercolor just because, I don't know, I like doing that to the backgrounds. I think it makes it more interesting than just a fade, even though, you know, there's 100 eyeballs back there too, but we ignore those for this. It's it's about it. I really didn't have, I feel like I didn't have too much to talk about, but we got there. I rambled enough. I yapped. Well, thank you for watching another installment of Daily Art. Goodbye. Bye. Have a good day. Bye. Or good night. Good afternoon. Whatever time it is for you. Have a good one. Goodbye.